Welcome to the part 3 of the Genshin Impact character secrets, where I'll be diving into the many characters of Sumeru and the hidden secrets they keep in their lore.
What do you mean there's another nation before Sumeru?
The facts I'm getting are mostly from the character profiles, voice lines, and character stories instead of the story quests and hangouts, since most of the time, these blocks of text or supplementary material are usually overlooked. So here we go. Also, since I'm taking from supplementary material, I'm only doing playable characters, so sorry I'll hate them and But before we begin, this video is brought to you by... So, fun fact, I saw this guy while I was looking for Genshin screenshots and I was like, wait, I bet this guy is hot. And turns out he's from Raid Shadow Legends, a completely free-to-play game that you and your friends, if you have any, can check out on your phone right now. Raid Shadow Legends is a great strategy game for you if you want to fight bosses or other people. I personally like the PvP aspect of games because who can say no to old-fashioned carnage? But if you like story, campaign, or just casual play, Raid definitely has you covered. There's over 650 completely unique champions to collect and billions of ways to customize your characters however you like. But if you also like story and lore, they added a new faction called the Sylvan Watchers. If you like tree people, then this is the faction for you. They've got forest elves, tree spirits, and even cool-looking rock monsters. There's a lot more characters under this faction, and as someone that really likes the aesthetic of the mythical forests and druids, I've got a few champions that I personally like. The defensive warrior of the forests, Green Warden Ruar, the absolute beast Dudon the Runic with his many horns and human bones, and the terrifying, yet actually pretty protective spirit Elva Autumnborn. Now, these are just 3 of the many you should definitely check out. And Raid has prepared something special for all new players this holidays. Get ready to celebrate the 12 days of Raid. Download Raid Shadow Legends from the links below, copy your player ID from in-game, and then go to 12daysofraid.plarium.com. Enter your player ID and set out on a fun festive adventure that lasts 12 days, running from December 19th to January 10th. Experience a new chapter of this wintry story and play a new minigame for a chance to win some amazing in-game and real-life prizes, including holiday-themed Raid champions and even Amazon gift cards worth up to $1,000. Also, they've released a legendary champion based off MMA pro wrestling legend Ronda Rousey. You can get Ronda for free by logging in and playing Raid for 7 days between now and February 20. To celebrate Ronda's arrival in Raid, you can also use the special promo code RAIDRONDA to get a bunch of helpful stuff like these. And if you haven't started playing Raid yet, click my link in the description or scan my QR code here on the screen. You'll get unique bonuses worth $35 and a whole free epic champion, Jotun, along with 100,000 silver, 50 gems, and 2 epic skill tomes. All this treasure will be waiting for you here, available for 30 days for new players only. And once you're in-game, come find me under the name chillwithaster and let's beat some people up in PvP. Can't guarantee we won't perish, but you know, it's the thought that counts, I guess. Alright, thank you for Raid for sponsoring this video. Now I need to learn more about this Red Angel guy. Candice. Candice is oftentimes called by the people of Sumeru as the true and purest embodiment of King Deshret's lineage. She herself is known as a guardian and has been that role ever since she was 8 years old. However, the true secret of the role is that the guardians never actually receive any blessings from the gods, and that this is a secret passed on from guardian to guardian. The role itself is nothing short of a placeholder that has no true divine backing, and can be seen as simply a status of appointment by human delegation. Another neat fun fact is that Candice's Amber Eye is allegedly able to perceive the future and read the fates of others. Candice herself says that if she could, she would look into the traveler's future. But I presume that since the traveler is not from this world, she actually can't see that far. Collei. Collei is one of the few characters to say cringe, and I love her for that. Also, I want to open this with Collei from the manga, because I want to focus on how different she used to be prior her release in Sumeru. Collei's delusion, or at least whatever the Fatui injected into her that is also known as Archon residue, manifests as a serpent. This serpent was only sealed away by Sino through a lesser banishing ritual, but is relatively dormant within her. Collei actually says in her Ascension voice lines that she'll never need to rely on the power again. Collei's proficiency with the bow actually comes from her gradual practice of a slingshot that she picked up from the Ludihar past them. This scene was in the manga and in her character stories, in which she draws a slingshot and eventually hits 1 out of 10 attempts to hit a target. In the days after that, Collei has been practicing day in and day out. Gradually, she became more familiar with the sound of drawing a bowstring and throwing darts. She practiced for a long time until she would seldom miss a shot out of 10. Collei also had a hard time picking up how to read and write, given her past. In the manga, she confessed that she was illiterate before going back to Sumeru and had to ask Lisa for help writing the letter. When she met Tignari and Sino, they taught her how to read and write on a basic level, but she actually reads Inazuma light novels in her spare time because of how much easier they are to read compared to academic papers. Sino. I actually have a lot to say about Sino's character stories, so strap in, I guess. The first one is the 6 cardinal sins of Sumeru. To prevent researchers from being devastated by their own knowledge, the sages before laid out 6 cardinal sins. The first is to intervene with human evolution. The second is to tamper with life and death. The third is to delve beyond the universe. The fourth is to investigate the origin of words. The fifth is to revere gods without acts of devotion. The sixth is to divulge secrets without a hint of fear. Sino's role as a General Mahamatra may also be seen like the incognito Secret Service archetype, but his responsibilities mostly extend to an academic level. Academic discrepancies like false declarations, fraud, bribery, misappropriation of funds, malicious competition, appropriation of someone else's dissertations are amongst the things he punishes. So plagiarize and he'll slice your thighs. Now, the next couple of fun facts I'm going to cover aren't necessarily from Sino as a character, but instead just some wacky cases he's had to deal with in the past. For example, in order to test the limit of the Spectre's body inflation, one Amurta researcher adopted an illegal catalyst and created a mega-sized Spectre, which later exploded during the experiment and leveled the entire research center. Then, there was a researcher from Spantamud who had aimed to test the Ruin Guard's ability to cultivate fields, but lost control of the modified machine, resulted in the ruin of many farmlands and grave injuries for several farmers. There have also been numerous criminal cases concerning academic fraud and the abuse of intelligence for personal gain. Which, honestly, what can you really do with a massive-sized Spectre? Also, in regards to Sino's jokes, because of how awkward it makes a situation, the Matra gradually came to a consensus that after Sino finishes telling a joke, everyone in the room must force out a laugh or two in response so that you will not start explaining. On the other hand, any Matra who attempts to imitate Sino's style will be harshly punished by the others through extreme means such as confiscating their canteen meal tickets. I like how there's just an internal system in place for dealing with Sino's jokes, that it could easily just be part of the initiation phase to be a Matra. Like, imagine that. Dory. A fun fact about Dory is that she used to suffer from insomnia. Back then, she would often lose sleep for no reason. After such sleepless nights, she would show up to trade meetings with a pair of raccoon eyes. It was at that moment that a doctor passed by and told Dory this: "I've heard that some people place an hourglass by their bedside. The sound of the falling sand helps them sleep." Dory tried it for a few days and it didn't work. However, she was inspired by the failed attempt, ordering a large custom-made hourglass. That which was in this hourglass was not sand, but shiny Mora. That night, embraced by the music of jingling Mora, Dory slept soundly at last. Another fun fact is that Dory knows Alice and they're a pair of business partners that could make all merchants jealous. Alice sends her new inventions to Dory, and Dory sells it and finds a way to give the Mora to Alice. They have a strict regiment and it's always a transaction that Dory dislikes having to delay. Alice is a top priority for Dory, regardless of how many suppliers Dory has. Farazan. Farazan's specialty is the strange machinations of ancient technology, more specifically, rune devices. She's from the Haravatat school, which focuses on ancient rune studies and semiotics, but Farazan's research would eventually lead her to the ancient ruins that would trap her for hundreds of years. While people like to speculate that she got into a contract with the Scarlet King or that she ascended to Celestia, turns out the real reason she got trapped was because she made a miscalculation. The temple had locked her in a form of stasis where she was neither hungry nor tired. Another cool fun fact is that Collei and Farazan have a great mentor-mentee relationship. She had heard Collei's diligent prayer to learn more words and was moved by her unfiltered want for knowledge. With time, Farazan would reacquaint herself with this young trainee forest ranger and get to know her better. Also, fun fact, Farazan states that Haravatat is a darshan with the lowest number of students. Layla. Layla's character stories dive into the role of academic pressure and her sleepwalking tendencies. But despite her worn-out nature, Layla is a really diligent and renowned student of her field. She has been called the sleepwalking eccentric, the human calculator, and the heaven-sent thesis by those who know her. Cool fun fact about Layla is that she got her vision after she went through a massive academic debate with her Herbad, or the leaders among scholar researchers. This back and forth went on for a year until the Herbad reconsulted with other researchers and told her that Layla was right. Nahida. Nahida's sleeper story is mostly already explained in the Archon Quest and other supplementary material, so I think we should focus more on Nahida as a person instead of Lesser Lord Kusanali. First fun fact is that Nahida has a toy box that has all sorts of games. She has puzzle games, battle games, and even chessboards and 3-dimensional locks. Another fun fact is that Nahida's hobbies are watching The Traveler. She says that it's because The Traveler fascinates her, and that The Traveler shouldn't mind her because she just wants to keep watching them all the time. Verbatim. Nilou. One cool fun fact about Nilou is that Dory actually offered to take her on a tour all across Tivat. Nilou and Dory's voice lines about each other are one of the rare cases that they're actually referencing similar events beyond just referencing each other. Dory believes that Nilou is wasting her talents by just staying in Sumeru, while Nilou actually refuses by telling the Traveler to tell Dory that her manager refused in the first place. It's kind of like saying, "Mom, could you please tell my friend that I'm not allowed to go outside," while not actually wanting to leave the house. Another fun fact about Nilou is that she's afraid of mushrooms, not really because she has a phobia, but because she actually doesn't understand which ones are edible or not. She's afraid that she'll get poisoned or something. Tignari. Before I begin this section, can I just absolutely say that I adore Tignari's voice lines? They're just full of life and sass. Anyway, as for fun facts about him, Tignari has sensitivity to heat, or at least has low tolerance of direct sun exposure. He says that his father is an entomologist who studies beetles in the desert, and that he has no intention of joining him. Another fun fact about Tignari is that he is acquainted with Dory and has been in need of very rare materials that only she can supply through her mysterious supply network. But if you ask him what he was buying, he'll quickly try to change the subject. Another fun fact, after Tignari essentially revamped the Forest Watchers after his arrival, people started calling him the General Watch Leader. And last fun fact about Tignari's story is when he found a manuscript known as the Valukashuna. As the records claim, Valukashuna was a raised subject to the Scarlet King, and who dwelled in the vast desert mostly possessing light-colored fur and large ears who were excellent at dissipating heat. Later, calamity would soon descend and destroy the Scarlet King's realm, with the Valukashuna only surviving due to the grace of the Dendroarchon, which turned their fur green. It is worth noting that while Valukashuna were noted to be more like fox, the meaning of their name was large desert dog. And according to the character's story, a human friend of mine has a very close relationship with the forest. It was a little-known creature known as an Aranara that gave this name. To be more precise, it was the fact that Tignari's ancestors had lived alongside the Valukashuna that they did end up inheriting some of their traits. Wanderer. The Wanderer has a tiny doll that he keeps under his hat. Well, that he wanted to put under his hat. He learned how to craft a small doll from an old fellow with hair as white as snow who invited him to stay by his side and teach him how to use cloth and thread. The Wanderer practiced for hours on end, and he didn't hate a single moment of that experience. The little doll he makes is a small man with white clothes, black hair, and a waistband tied using a butterfly knot, with a clear, round tear at the corner of its eye. Wanderer said that if he keeps it in his hat, it'll be like having a travel companion. And that's a wrap. Some random assorted fun facts about the Sumeru characters. And again, thank you to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. And with that, I'll see you all next time. My name is Aster and thank you for chilling with me.